There are people no one remembers, people whose names never appear on performance charts, yet companies survive because of people like them. Manager Kim was one of those people. He arrived earlier than anyone, he left later than anyone, but not once was his name called in a meeting. Today, Manager Kim had to make a decision. If he resigned, everything would finally end. If he stayed, another invisible day would begin. Ending it here would be easier. Staying would hurt more. People say endurance is weakness. They call it fear. They call it hesitation. But Manager Kim knew something they didn't. Sometimes, endurance is a choice. That morning, Manager Kim went to work a little later than usual. Standing at a traffic light, he paused. The red light told him to stop. But his thoughts refused to slow down. If he went on like this, today would be the same as yesterday. Reports, meetings, unspoken pressure, and decisions no one truly owned. Manager Kim took a deep breath and thought to himself, maybe today, I should live a little differently. The office was louder than usual, not because people talked more, but because no one listened. A meeting room filled with familiar faces, familiar voices, familiar tension. Someone blamed the market. Someone blamed the system. Someone blamed a name that wasn't in the room. Manager Kim said nothing. The project was failing. Everyone knew it. But admitting failure meant responsibility. And responsibility had no owner. Eyes slowly turned toward him. He wasn't the boss. He wasn't the decision maker. But somehow, he was always the safest person to blame. Manager Kim, what do you think? The room fell silent. This was the moment. If he spoke, he would be exposed. If he stayed quiet, he would disappear again. His heart beat faster. He remembered all the times. He fixed problems quietly. All the nights. He carried mistakes that weren't his. This time, something felt different. Manager Kim raised his head. Slowly. Calmly. This problem, he said, didn't start yesterday. A few people shifted in their seats. It grew because no one wanted to stop it. The air changed. No shouting. No anger. Just words that were long overdue. Some faces hardened. Some looked away. Truth was uncomfortable, and discomfort was dangerous. Manager Kim felt it. The invisible line had been crossed. There was no going back now. After the meeting, no one spoke to him. Not openly, not directly, but he felt it. The distance, the silence, the sudden heaviness in the air. People passed by his desk, as if he wasn't there. Emails stopped coming. Messages went unanswered. Manager Kim understood immediately. This was the price of honesty. He sat quietly, staring at his monitor. The screen was full of numbers, but none of them explained what he was feeling. He wondered if he had said too much. Maybe silence would have been safer. Maybe disappearing was easier than standing out. He remembered a time when being good at his job meant being trusted. Now it meant being convenient. Manager Kim leaned back and closed his eyes for a moment. He felt tired. Not physically, but the kind of tired that comes from carrying things no one sees. For the first time in years, he asked himself a dangerous question. Was this place still worth staying for? Someone stopped by his desk. A junior colleague, new, still trying to believe in this place. I heard what you said in the meeting, the junior said quietly. Manager Kim looked up. For a moment, he didn't know what to say. It made sense. The junior continued. Someone needed to say it. The words were simple, but they landed heavy. Manager Kim felt something shift. He wasn't alone. Not completely. The junior hesitated, then added, most of us were thinking the same thing. We just didn't have the courage. Courage. It wasn't a word Manager Kim associated with himself. He had always thought of survival, endurance, responsibility. But hearing it now, something softened inside him. If you hadn't spoken, the junior said, nothing would have changed. Manager Kim nodded slowly. Maybe change didn't come loudly. Maybe it started like this. One honest sentence, one person listening. As the junior walked away, Manager Kim looked around the office. It was the same place, the same desks, the same walls, but it felt slightly different. And for the first time that day, he allowed himself a small thought. Maybe staying wasn't the same as giving up. Back at his desk, Manager Kim opened his drawer. The resignation letter was still there, neatly folded, unsigned. He had written it weeks ago, on a night when everything felt heavy, on a night when staying felt impossible. He unfolded the paper slowly. Every word felt familiar, too familiar. I hereby resign. The sentence stared back at him. It promised relief, an ending, a clean escape. But it also meant walking away from everything he had endured, from the people who were still trying, from the ones who needed someone to stay honest. Manager Kim held the letter in his hands. His fingers trembled slightly. What would happen tomorrow? If he left today, the office would move on. The meetings would continue. His desk would be cleared. No one would ask why. And that thought hurt more than he expected. Manager Kim folded the letter again, carefully, as if it mattered, as if he mattered. He placed it back in the drawer and closed it. But he didn't lock it. Not yet. The office grew quiet. One by one, the lights turned off. Keyboards stopped clicking. Chairs slid back. Voices faded into the hallway. Soon, Manager Kim was alone. The same desk, the same chair. But without the noise, everything felt heavier and clearer at the same time. He looked around the empty office. This place had taken years from him. Sleep, time, parts of himself. But it had also taught him how to endure, how to lead without authority, how to protect others quietly. Manager Kim stood up and walked to the window. The city lights flickered below. Somewhere out there, people were heading home. Some were tired. Some were hopeful. He wondered which one he was. For the first time in a long while, he didn't rush the answer. He simply stood there, breathing, letting the silence do its work. And in that silence, something settled. Not certainty, but readiness. Manager Kim returned to his desk. He opened the drawer one last time. The resignation letter was still there, waiting. He looked at it for a long moment. Then, he took out a small piece of paper. Not the letter, a blank note. He picked up a pen and wrote slowly, "Teams are built by people, not numbers." He folded the note and placed it on his desk. The resignation letter went back into the drawer. This time, he closed it firmly. Manager Kim put on his jacket. No announcement, no farewell. He turned off the light at his desk. As he walked toward the elevator, he didn't look back. The doors began to close. Just before they met, his reflection appeared briefly. Calm, tired, but steady. The doors closed, and the office fell into darkness. Somewhere inside that building, a quiet decision remained, not to quit, not to surrender, but to stand one more day.